It was a normal day on Earth when everything changed. In the middle of an important meeting at the United Nations, a strange signal interrupted the broadcast. The screen went dark, and a strange figure appeared. She was tall, with blue skin and glowing golden eyes. Her clothes looked like armor, shining with symbols no one could understand. This was no ordinary person. She was an alien. The room went silent. World leaders from every country stared at the screen, unsure of what to do. The figure on the screen spoke, her voice calm but full of authority. "I am Princess Jula of the Vultan Empire," she said. "Our empire has watched over your planet for many years. We are strong, and we are powerful. But now we come with a request." Everyone in the room leaned forward, anxious to hear what she had to say. An alien empire asking something from Earth. It was both exciting and terrifying. No one knew if this was a good thing or something dangerous. "We seek a human," the princess continued. "A strong human male to become the mate of one of my daughters. It is time for our species to grow closer. By uniting with a human, we can create a bond between our worlds." The leaders were shocked. A human male marrying an alien princess's daughter. The idea was strange and hard to believe. Why would an advanced alien species, one with more technology and power than Earth could imagine, want to join with humans? "What happens if we say no?" one of the leaders asked, his voice shaking a little. Princess Jilla smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was a smile that said, "Don't test us. We are offering peace and unity. But if Earth refuses our request, then the consequences could be severe. We would see it as an insult. And trust me, your world does not want to insult the Vultan Empire." The room filled with nervous whispers. The leaders turned to each other, talking quickly. What should they do? Refusing might lead to war, but agreeing to such a strange demand was risky too. How could they send one of their own to marry an alien, not knowing what could happen? One of the leaders stood up and asked, "Why a human? Why now?" The princess nodded, as if she expected this question. "Humans are unique. You are strong and adaptable. Your world has grown quickly, and we have watched your progress with great interest. My daughters need strong mates, and we believe a human would be the best choice. It would be a great honor for your planet." The leaders still felt unsure. An honor? Maybe. But it still felt like they were being forced into something. If they didn't do what the princess wanted, it seemed like Earth could be in danger, and no one wanted a war with a powerful alien empire. Princess Jilla's image flickered for a moment, as if the connection between worlds was unstable. She crossed her arms, waiting for their decision. "You have 2 weeks to choose a man for my daughters," she said firmly. "Send him to our empire. If you fail to send someone, Earth will face the consequences." Then, just like that, the screen went black again. The room was filled with silence. Everyone sat still, trying to process what had just happened. The Secretary General of the United Nations finally spoke up. "We need to discuss this," he said, his voice steady but serious. "We don't have much time. We must decide quickly, or we risk the safety of our entire planet." The leaders agreed. This was no small matter. They had to make a choice. Would they find someone brave enough to go, or would they risk angering the Vultans? No one had an easy answer. As they debated, the people of Earth began to hear the news. Fear spread across the world. People talked about the alien demand everywhere, on TV, on the streets, in their homes. What would Earth do? Would they send a human to marry an alien? Or would they risk a terrible war with a powerful species? Finding the right man. After the shocking message from Princess Jala, the leaders of Earth faced a tough decision. They had 2 weeks to find a strong human man to send to the alien empire. The meeting room buzzed with tension and worry as they discussed their options. "Who could we send?" One leader asked, his brow furrowed. "We need someone brave, someone who can handle this strange situation." The Secretary General looked around the room. "We need a volunteer, Someone who is willing to represent all of humanity, he said. But finding the right person won't be easy. This man will be a symbol of our planet. The leaders started brainstorming. They listed qualities they wanted in a candidate. The man should be strong, intelligent, and respectful. He must be able to handle the pressure of marrying an alien princess. Each leader had their ideas, but no one could agree on a name. Meanwhile, news of the princess's request spread across the world. People were scared but also curious. Some thought it was exciting to meet aliens, while others worried about the consequences of such a union. Social media was filled with opinions, and many young men began to see this as a chance for fame and glory. They wanted to be the one chosen to meet the alien princess. In a small town, a young man named Jack watched the news with his friends. Jack was a soldier, strong and brave, but he was also a bit unsure. Could I really go to an alien world and marry a princess? He wondered. He had always dreamed of adventure, but this was something completely different. Jack's friends encouraged him. "You should go for it, Jack," one said. "You're the perfect choice. You've got what it takes." At first, Jack hesitated. He thought about the risks. Would he ever come back home? What if the Vultans didn't like him? But the more he thought about it, the more he felt a spark of excitement. This could be his chance to do something great, something no one else had ever done. As the days passed, the leaders of Earth held press conferences to explain the situation. They called for volunteers to step forward. Many men showed interest, but most were scared. They didn't want to risk their lives for something so uncertain. Finally, the deadline was near. The leaders knew they had to make a choice. Jack decided to take action. He called his commanding officer and asked to be considered. "I want to go," he said, his voice steady. "I want to be the one to represent humanity." His commanding officer raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure about this, Jack? It's a big responsibility." "Unsure," Jack replied. "I can handle it. I want to protect our planet, and this might be a way to do that." Word of Jack's decision spread quickly. His family and friends were proud but worried. "You might never come back," his mother said, tears in her eyes. "I know, Mom," Jack said gently, "but I have to try. It's important for all of us." With only a few days left, the leaders finally met to discuss the candidates. They reviewed Jack's military record and his character. They saw that he had shown courage in many situations. He was well-trained and respected by his peers. After much discussion, they made their decision. "Jack will be our man," the Secretary General announced. "He will go to the Vultan Empire and represent humanity." When Jack learned he was chosen, he felt a rush of emotions. Excitement, fear, and pride mixed together. He was about to embark on an adventure like no other. He would meet an alien princess and her daughters. He knew the path ahead would not be easy, but he was ready. As the day of departure approached, Jack prepared himself. He trained harder than ever, learning about the Vultan culture and their customs. He wanted to make a good impression. He even practiced speaking their language, hoping to connect with the princess and her daughters. On the day of his departure, Jack stood in front of his family and friends. They had come to support him, but the mood was heavy with uncertainty. He looked at their faces and felt the weight of their expectations. "I will do my best for all of us," he promised, his voice strong. "I won't let you down." With that, he boarded the spaceship that would take him to the Vultan homeworld. As he looked back at Earth, he felt a mix of excitement and fear. He was leaving everything behind for the unknown. The adventure of a lifetime awaited him, and he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Jack's mission begins. Jack stood at the entrance of the spaceship, his heart racing with excitement and fear. He looked back at the faces of his friends and family, who were waving goodbye. They were proud but worried. Jack took a deep breath, knowing that he was about to embark on an adventure like no other. As the door of the spaceship closed, Jack felt a rush of adrenaline. The ship was sleek and shiny, filled with advanced technology. He had never seen anything like it before. The engines roared to life, and the ship began to lift off the ground. He could feel the pull of the earth as it slowly faded away beneath him. The journey to the Vultan homeworld was unlike anything Jack had ever experienced. The ship moved smoothly through space, stars twinkling around him like diamonds. He was in awe of the view from the windows. For a moment, he forgot about his fears and just enjoyed the beauty of the universe. As the hours passed, Jack started to feel nervous again. He thought about what awaited him on the other side. He was going to meet an alien princess and her daughters. Would they like him? Would they accept him as one of their own? He didn't know what to expect. After what felt like an eternity, the ship finally began its descent. Jack's stomach fluttered with excitement as he saw the Vultan planet come into view. It was magnificent, with colorful landscapes and towering cities made of shining materials. The planet looked alive, vibrant, and full of energy. When the ship landed, a group of Vultan soldiers greeted him. They were tall and imposing, with their blue skin and fierce expressions. Jack felt a chill run down his spine, but he reminded himself to stay calm. He was here to represent Earth, and he had to show strength. The soldiers escorted Jack to the palace. As they walked through the grand halls, Jack marveled at the architecture. The walls were adorned with beautiful artwork, depicting the history of the Vultan Empire. He felt small in this majestic place, but he held his head high, determined to prove himself. Finally, Jack reached the throne room. Princess Jella sat on her throne, looking regal and powerful. She was even more impressive in person. The room was filled with her advisors and guards, all watching him closely. Jack's heart raced as he approached the princess. "Welcome, Jack of Earth," she said, her voice strong and confident. "You have traveled far to be here. We appreciate your willingness to accept this challenge." "Thank you, Your Highness," Jack replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I am honored to be here." Tala studied him carefully. "You will need to prove yourself worthy to marry one of my daughters. They are strong and capable, and I will not allow just anyone to become part of our family." Jack nodded, understanding the seriousness of her words. He knew he had to show that he was not just any man. He was a representative of humanity, and he needed to make a good impression. "First, you will meet my daughters," Jella said, waving her hand. "They will each test your skills in different ways. Only then will we decide who you will be matched with." Jack felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Meeting the princess's daughters was a big step, and he hoped he could impress them. He followed the princess into another room, where her daughters waited. The first daughter, Kali, stood tall and proud. She wore armor that gleamed under the lights, and her eyes burned with determination. "I am the warrior of the family," she said. "If you want to marry any of us, you must prove your strength in combat." Jack felt a rush of adrenaline. He had trained for this moment. "I accept your challenge," he said confidently. The second daughter, Riania, was different. She was smart and analytical, with a curious look in her eyes. "I will challenge your mind," she said. "You must solve a puzzle that has stumped many. Only the cleverest can succeed." The third daughter, Alia, had a kind smile. "I will test your heart," she said softly. "You must show compassion and understanding to the people of our world. That is just as important as strength and intelligence." Jack listened carefully, knowing that he needed to impress all three daughters. He had to prove he was worthy of their family. The challenges ahead would not be easy, but he was ready. "Prepare yourself, Jack," Jilla said. "Your mission has begun. Show us the strength and courage of humanity." With that, Jack took a deep breath. He was ready to face whatever came next. He knew that this was just the beginning of a journey that would test him in ways he never imagined. But he was determined to succeed. For himself, for Earth, and for the future he hoped to build with the Vultan princess and her daughters. Meeting the alien daughters, Jack stood in the grand hall, his heart pounding with both excitement and nervousness. Princess Jala had just left him to meet her daughters, and he wondered what they would be like. The hall was beautiful, with tall ceilings and bright lights that made the place glow. He took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. Suddenly, the door opened, and the three Vultan daughters entered. Jack felt a mix of awe and anxiety as he took in their appearances. Each daughter was unique, and they carried themselves with confidence. The first daughter, Kolak, walked in with a strong presence. She had short, dark blue hair and fierce golden eyes. She wore shining armor that reflected the light. "So, you are the human they sent," she said, her voice commanding but not unfriendly. "I hope you are ready for a challenge." Jack nodded, trying to match her intensity. "I am ready, Kolak. I want to show you that I can be strong." Kolak smirked, clearly pleased. "Strength is important, but it is not everything. You must also be clever and kind." The second daughter, Rhaenyra, stepped forward. She had long, flowing hair that shimmered like silver, and her eyes sparkled with intelligence. "I will challenge your mind," she said. "You must solve a puzzle that tests your logic and creativity." Jack felt a rush of determination. "I'm ready for that too. I'll do my best." The third daughter, Aelia, entered with a gentle smile. She had soft features and wore a simple, elegant dress. Her eyes were warm and kind. "And I will test your heart," she said softly. "You must show compassion and understanding to our people. That is just as important as strength and intelligence." Jack listened carefully to each daughter's words. He understood that each challenge would be different, and he would need to impress all three to prove he was worthy of their family. The first challenge began with Kolak. She led Jack to a training room filled with weapons and equipment. "We will spar," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "Show me what you can do." Jack had trained hard as a soldier, but he had never fought an alien before. Kolak was fast and strong. She moved with grace, and her skills were impressive. Jack focused, trying to remember his training. He dodged her attacks and fought back with all his strength. The clash of their weapons echoed in the room. As they sparred, Jack realized that Kolak was not just testing his strength. She was also watching how he reacted to her moves. After a few rounds, Kolak finally called for a break. "You have skill, human," she said, breathing heavily. "But it is clear that you need to work on your speed. I respect your strength, but you must learn to be quick on your feet." Jack nodded, grateful for her honesty. "I will work on that, Kolak." Next, it was time for Rhaenyra's challenge. She led him to a large room filled with strange objects and symbols. "Here is your puzzle," she said. "You must arrange these symbols in the correct order to unlock the door on the other side of the room. Think carefully and remember that logic is key." Jack studied the symbols, feeling the pressure. He had always enjoyed puzzles, but this was different. He needed to think quickly. He examined each symbol, remembering what he learned in school about patterns and sequences. Slowly, he began to see connections. After a few minutes of intense concentration, he confidently placed the last symbol. The door clicked open, and Rhaenyra smiled. "Well done, Jack. You are cleverer than I expected. This shows you can think under pressure." "Thank you, Rhaenyra," Jack replied, feeling proud of himself. Finally, it was Aelia's turn. She took Jack to a small village nearby where Vultan families lived. "You will spend time with our people," she said gently. "You must listen to their stories and show kindness. This is how you will prove your heart." Jack was nervous but excited. He met families who welcomed him warmly. They shared their customs and traditions, and Jack listened with genuine interest. He helped a child fix a broken toy and listened to an elder tell tales of the Vultan past. Aelia watched him carefully, noticing how he interacted with the people. Jack spoke to them with respect and empathy, and he felt a sense of connection. He realized that this challenge was about understanding their culture and showing that he could be a part of it. When the day was over, Jack returned to Aelia, feeling happy and fulfilled. "I enjoyed meeting your people," he said. "They are wonderful." Aelia smiled, her eyes shining. "You showed kindness and understanding, Jack, that is very important. After completing all 3 challenges, Jack felt exhausted but proud. He had faced the tests with determination and had learned more about the Vultan culture. As he returned to the palace, he knew that he had impressed each of the daughters in his own way. He was ready to face whatever came next in this journey. He had shown his strength, intelligence, and heart. Now he hoped it would be enough to earn their respect and acceptance. Tough challenges. After completing the first round of challenges, Jack felt a sense of accomplishment. He had impressed Princess Jola's daughters, but he knew that tougher challenges were ahead. Each daughter had told him that he still needed to prove himself even more. Jack was ready to face whatever came next. The next day, Princess Jola summoned Jack to the Grand Hall. He entered, feeling both nervous and excited. The hall was filled with guards and advisors, all watching him closely. Jola stood at the front, her eyes piercing and serious. "Jack," she began, "you have done well in the first challenges. But now I will test you further. These challenges will be more difficult. They will show your true character and strength." Jack nodded, determination filling his heart. "I am ready, Your Highness." The princess smiled slightly. "Good. You will face 3 challenges, one of strength, one of bravery, and one of wisdom. Only then will I decide if you are worthy of marrying one of my daughters." With that, the first challenge began. Jola led Jack to an arena outside the palace. The arena was vast and surrounded by tall walls. The ground was sandy, and the sun shone brightly overhead. In the center stood a massive creature, a fierce Vultan beast known as Xalka. It had sharp claws, powerful muscles, and a roar that echoed through the arena. "This is your challenge of strength," Jola announced. "You must subdue the Xalka without using any weapons. Show me your physical power and skills." Jack felt his heart race. Subduing a creature like that would be no easy task. But he remembered his training as a soldier. He had learned how to fight without weapons before. Taking a deep breath, he stepped into the arena. The Xalka charged at him, its teeth bared. Jack dodged to the side, using his agility to avoid the beast's attack. He could feel the ground shake as the creature roared. Jack waited for the right moment. When the Xalka turned to face him again, he quickly moved behind it and grabbed its tail. Using all his strength, he pulled the tail, trying to off-balance the creature. The Xalka stumbled and let out a surprised roar. Jack seized the moment and leaped onto its back. He wrapped his arms around its neck, trying to hold on tight. The creature bucked and thrashed, but Jack refused to let go. As the Xalka struggled, Jack focused on calming it down. He remembered what he had learned about animals. "Easy now," he whispered, trying to soothe the beast. "I'm not here to hurt you." After a few tense moments, the Xalka began to calm. Jack felt its muscles relax beneath him. Slowly, he got off and stood before the creature, showing it respect. The audience, including Jola and her daughters, erupted into applause. "You have shown great strength and courage, Jack," Jola said, impressed. "Now, we move to the next challenge, bravery." The second challenge took place in a dark, winding cave near the palace. Jola led Jack into the cave, which was filled with shadows and strange noises. "You must go deeper into the cave and retrieve a glowing crystal," she instructed. "But beware, for many creatures dwell in the dark." Jack's heart raced again. The cave looked scary, and he could hear strange sounds echoing from within. But he knew he had to be brave. Taking a deep breath, he stepped into the darkness. As he walked deeper into the cave, he kept his eyes and ears open. The walls glimmered with crystals, but he needed the right one. Suddenly, he heard a rustling noise. Jack turned quickly, and to his shock, a small furry creature jumped out from behind a rock. It squeaked loudly and then dashed away. Jack laughed at himself. "Just a little guy," he said, feeling a bit silly. But he pressed on, deeper into the cave. The shadows were thick, and the air felt heavy. He could feel the fear creeping in, but he pushed it away. Finally, Jack reached a large chamber filled with glowing crystals. In the center, he spotted the biggest crystal shining brightly. It was beautiful. He walked toward it, feeling a sense of accomplishment. But just as he reached out to grab it, a shadow moved behind him. Jack turned quickly and found himself face to face with a much larger creature, a cave beast with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. Jack's heart raced again. It was time to be brave. He remembered his training and took a step back, trying to appear calm. "Stay back," Jack shouted, hoping to scare the beast away. But the creature growled and advanced. Jack knew he had to act. He grabbed a nearby rock and threw it in the opposite direction. The beast turned to follow the sound, giving Jack the chance he needed. He quickly snatched the glowing crystal and dashed back toward the entrance. The creature roared behind him, but Jack didn't look back. He focused on reaching the light. As he emerged from the cave, breathless but triumphant, the audience cheered again. Sheila smiled, clearly impressed. "You have shown great bravery, Jack," she said. "Now for the final challenge. Wisdom." For this challenge, Jala took Jack to a grand hall filled with ancient Vultan books and scrolls. "You must solve a riddle," she said. "Only those with true wisdom can answer." Jack listened carefully as Jala spoke the riddle. It was complex and tricky, but Jack took his time, thinking through each word. After a few moments, he felt a light bulb go off in his mind. "I believe the answer is knowledge," Jack said confidently. Jala nodded slowly. "You are correct. Knowledge is indeed the answer. You have proven your wisdom." With that, Jack felt a rush of relief and pride. He had faced the tough challenges set before him, and he had succeeded. He knew that he had shown the strength, bravery, and wisdom that the Vultan family was looking for. "Now, it is time to discuss the next steps," Jilla said, a satisfied smile on her face. Jack felt excited about what was to come. He had taken on the challenges and emerged stronger than before. The big battle. After passing the tough challenges, Jack felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had shown his strength, bravery, and wisdom. But just when he thought things would calm down, a dark shadow fell over the Vultan planet. Rumors of a powerful enemy had reached the palace, and it threatened everything Jack had come to care about. Princess Shola gathered everyone in the grand hall. Her expression was serious as she addressed her people. "A fearsome warlord named Kolak has invaded our borders. He seeks to conquer our world and enslave our people. We must unite to fight him and protect our home." Jack's heart raced at the mention of war. He had trained for battles before, but this was different. He was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for the Vultan people and the future of the princess and her daughters. Sala turned to Jack. "You have proven yourself to my family. Now I ask you to stand with us as a warrior. Will you fight for our people?" Without hesitation, Jack nodded. "Yes, Your Highness. I will fight by your side." The princess smiled, grateful for his bravery. "Then prepare yourself. We will meet Krolek's forces at dawn. Gather your strength and armor. This battle will be fierce." That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He thought about the battle ahead and what it meant. He felt nervous, but he also felt a sense of purpose. He had trained for moments like this, and now it was time to act. As dawn broke, Jack joined Jala and her daughters at the palace courtyard. They were dressed in shining armor, ready for battle. The sight of them gave Jack confidence. They were a strong family, and he felt honored to fight alongside them. The Vultan army gathered, a sea of warriors ready to defend their home. The soldiers stood tall, their faces determined. Jala raised her sword high, calling for silence. "Today, we fight for our freedom," she shouted. "Today, we fight for our families. We will not let Kolak take what is ours." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Jack felt the energy around him. He held his own sword tightly, feeling its weight. He was ready. As they marched toward the battlefield, Jack spotted Kolak's army in the distance. They were a fierce-looking group, armed with dark weapons and filled with malice. Jack's stomach twisted with anxiety. This was it, the moment of truth. When they reached the battlefield, the two armies faced each other. Zhella shouted a command, and the Vultan soldiers charged forward. Jack joined the charge, adrenaline pumping through his veins. The sound of clashing swords and war cries filled the air. Jack fought bravely, using every skill he had learned. He dodged enemy attacks and struck back with precision. He could feel the heat of battle around him. The chaos of war swirling like a storm. It was terrifying, but he felt alive. In the midst of the battle, Jack noticed Kolak fighting beside him. She moved with incredible speed and strength, taking down enemies one after another. Jack admired her bravery and felt inspired to fight harder. Together, they made a strong team, supporting each other and pushing forward. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra was using her intelligence to guide the soldiers. She called out orders and strategies, helping them flank the enemy and gain the upper hand. Jack saw how important her mind was in this fight. She was not just a warrior, she was a leader. As the battle raged on, Jack began to tire. He knew he had to keep going, but he felt his energy slipping. Just then, he spotted Elia in the distance, helping injured soldiers. She was using her compassion to care for those in need, showing her strength in a different way. Jack's heart swelled with admiration. He wanted to protect her and the Vultan people. But suddenly, Jack saw Kolak in the distance. The warlord was large and menacing, his eyes filled with rage. He was cutting through Vultan soldiers like they were nothing. Jack knew he had to confront him. Gathering all his strength, Jack charged toward Kolak. The warlord turned, noticing Jack approaching. A cruel smile spread across his face. "So the little human thinks he can challenge me," he mocked. "I won't let you hurt these people," Jack shouted, raising his sword high. The two warriors clashed, their swords ringing out in the chaos. Kolak was strong, but Jack was determined. He used every ounce of skill he had learned during his training and in the previous challenges. The fight was fierce, and Jack felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. As they battled, Jack remembered the lessons he learned from Jala's daughters. He focused on being strong like Kolak, clever like Rhaenyra, and compassionate like Elia. He found his rhythm, dodging Kolak's strikes and hitting back with all his might. Finally, with one last powerful swing, Jack knocked Kolak's sword from his hands. The warlord stumbled back, shock in his eyes. Jack saw his chance and pushed forward, using his strength to subdue the enemy. "You have lost, Kolak," Jack declared. "Leave this place and never return." The warlord glared at Jack, but saw the determination in his eyes. With a defeated growl, Kolak turned and fled, his army following in fear. The battlefield fell silent. The Vultan soldiers cheered as victory washed over them. Jack felt a wave of relief and joy. They had won. Sala, Kolak, Rhaenyra, and Elia rushed to his side, their faces filled with pride and gratitude. "You did it, Jack," Zhella exclaimed. "You fought bravely and saved our people." Jack smiled, feeling a sense of belonging. He had faced the big battle and emerged victorious. He had proven himself worthy of the Vultan family and the love of their people. A new beginning. After the victory over Kolak, the atmosphere in the Vultan palace was filled with joy and celebration. The people of Vultia had fought bravely, and they had defended their home. Jack felt a sense of pride, knowing he had played a key role in the battle. The bond he had formed with Princess Zhella and her daughters had only grown stronger. The grand hall was decorated with bright banners and flowers. The air was filled with laughter and music as families gathered to celebrate their freedom. Jack stood with Zhella, Kolak, Rhaenyra, and Elia, feeling like he was part of something special. The four of them were united, a family forged by their shared experiences. As the festivities began, Zhella called for silence. She stood tall, her voice strong and clear. "Today, we celebrate not just our victory, but the strength of our people. We have overcome great challenges, and I am proud of each and every one of you. We have shown that together, we can face anything." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Jack couldn't help but smile. The Vultan people had shown their courage and unity, and he felt honored to be a part of it. After the speeches, the festivities continued. Jack danced with Elia, who moved gracefully, her laughter ringing like music. She had a kind heart, and Jack enjoyed every moment they spent together. He felt a deep connection with her and admired her compassion for others. Kayla joined them, playfully teasing Jack. "You dance better than I expected, human," she said with a smirk. Jack laughed, feeling a sense of camaraderie. "Thank you. I'm glad to impress you, Kala." As the night wore on, Rhaenyra approached Jack with a serious look. "I want to thank you for your bravery today," she said sincerely. "You have proven yourself to be a true warrior and a friend to our family." "Thank you, Rhaenyra," Jack replied. "I couldn't have done it without you and your sisters. You all inspired me to fight harder." The celebration continued into the night, and the atmosphere was filled with hope and happiness. Jack felt a warmth in his heart, knowing that he had found a place where he belonged. The Vultan people welcomed him as one of their own, and he felt grateful for their acceptance. As the evening came to an end, Jala gathered everyone again. "I want to make a special announcement," she said, her voice commanding attention. "Today, we not only celebrate our victory, but we also welcome Jack into our family." Jack's heart raced at her words. He looked around, surprised and happy. "I am honored," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You have all accepted me, and I will always stand by your side." Jala smiled proudly. "We have decided that Jack will become an official member of our family. He will be a protector of Vultan, and one of my daughters will choose to stand with him in the future." The crowd cheered again, and Jack felt a rush of joy. He had not only fought for the Vultan people, but had also gained a new family. It was more than he had ever dreamed. As the night went on, Jack spent time with each daughter, learning about their dreams and hopes for the future. Kayla spoke of her desire to strengthen the Vultan army, training new warriors. "We must always be ready for anything," she said with determination. Rhaenyra shared her vision of knowledge. "I want to build a school where everyone can learn," she said excitedly. "Education is the key to a strong future." Elia spoke softly, her eyes shining. "I want to help our people heal and grow. I believe that kindness is the greatest strength of all." Jack listened, inspired by their passion. He felt grateful to be part of their journey, whatever it may hold. As the celebration drew to a close, Jala invited Jack to walk with her under the stars. They stepped outside, the cool night air refreshing. The stars sparkled brightly above them, and the palace looked beautiful against the night sky. "Jack," Jala began, her voice soft, "I know that you are not from our world, but you have proven yourself in ways I never expected. You have shown great strength and heart." Jack smiled, feeling a sense of pride. "I wanted to protect you and your people. I found a home here, and I will always fight for it." Jala nodded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "I see the love and respect you have for my family. I believe you are destined for great things, Jack." In that moment, Jack knew he had found a place where he belonged. He had fought for love, friendship, and unity. Together, they could build a better future for Vultan. As they stood under the stars, Jack felt a new beginning unfolding before him. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a part of something much bigger. He had gained a family, a home, and a purpose. With determination in his heart, Jack knew that he would face any challenge that lay ahead. Together with Jala, Kalai, Rhaenyra, and Elia, he would protect their world and build a brighter future for all. The adventure was just beginning, and Jack was ready to embrace it.